Coffee with my Miracleman time.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, would you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us all a bit about yourself?
My name's Amy Cole, and I was, um, I've had a couple of things that were similar with Brendan, where 30 years ago I was in a car accident too, but mine wasn't as severe. And just recently I have developed a brain disorder that is called functional neurological disorder. And when I got that, it felt a lot like when I had my first brain injury, where, um, I was sensitive to lights and sounds and really had a hard time thinking and speaking, and just everything was difficult. But
That's
so I
a
closed my
common
business and
thing.
started again. But it was a really tough road, um, as you know. But I think. I used to be a web developer, and that was the last straw, like the stress from the working with all kinds of stuff. I loved my clients. They were wonderful, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of stress trying to get things done on time. And um, so I had to walk away from it, and that was really hard. Yeah.
For sure. So, would you mind telling us all a bit more about how you got your brain injury?
Oh, the first one? Um,
Yes.
so I was in a car driving with my sister, and we were going down the road, and there was all this it was nighttime and it was raining, and all of a sudden I could see a car like from my left that was just about to smash into us, and then everything went in slow motion. Like it was really weird. Everything just was like slowed down so much, and I was like going car, and I like hit the brakes, and then we
It's
smashed.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing how when something traumatic like that happens, your brain processes things so fast. It seems like they're in slow motion.
Right. Yeah, it was really crazy weird. And then he smashed into us, and I hit my head on the side of between the front window and this and the door where the frame of the car goes. Um, and we ended up in somebody's yard, like we smashed through a fire hydrant, like knocked over a fire hydrant and landed on somebody's front lawn, and they all came out and like helped us and stuff. But he fled the accident, and but I was pregnant. I think he was like trying to see if I was okay, but then he was scared because he was drunk. So
Mm.
he ran away, but then he called me later and apologized, and that made it a lot easier to just move on. But it was scary because for a while, like I would just lay in a dark room crying. Like I just felt so awful, and they couldn't really do a lot of testing because I was pregnant. So um they just said, "Well, you look okay." They sent me home, but I wasn't okay. I forgot like how to get places, and um,
Yes,
I couldn't go into a store for a long time. It was,
that's terrible. Like, if they would have just gone off of how I looked after my injury, I would have had no medical treatment
yeah.
because although I had both clavicles and destroyed ribcage, punctured lung, and broken neck, I looked fine.
You looked fine, huh?
Mm.
Everything's broken, but you look fine.
Yes,
Oh dear. Yeah, it was a long recovery and even things that were all scrambled up. Like when I would drink milk, it tasted like fish. When I brushed my teeth, it tasted like tacos and like things were all mixed up and scrambled and it took a while to just kind of like everything get rewired and straightened up and
Yes,
so
that's what happens in brain injuries.
yeah, it was really weird.
It's both frustrating and fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And with this second thing that happened, it felt so much like the first thing that I really thought there was something super wrong with my body. And they kept testing and they're like, no, you're fine, you're fine. And even one time I went to the emergency room. So, like, let me back up a little. What happened was I had this really stressful day at work and, like, was launching all these sites and everything was crazy and there was everything due the same day. And just so much stress. I had all the windows open on my computer, just working from one thing to the next. And at
Yes,
the end of the day, I realized I couldn't remember anything I had done all day. And I couldn't remember my husband's name. I couldn't remember my daughter's name. And I was like checking in the mirror, like, did I have a stroke? What happened? And
that's
it was
terrifying.
scary. So I didn't have any signs of a stroke. So I went to bed. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just take a nap. And when I wake up, I'll feel better. But I didn't feel any better. And it kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So then it was really scary. And I thought I was dying. Like, I seriously thought I was dying because
Yes,
they kept saying that nothing's wrong with you. And I was like, no, something's wrong with me. Like, something's seriously wrong.
and
And I couldn't
sometimes
think.
you have to insist
Right,
medical people only go off of what they have been taught and
right,
or seen before, and maybe they haven't seen that before. If
right.
you know something's wrong, please insist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because it was like even one time I went to the emergency room and they were like, here's a Tylenol for your headache.
Mm,
It was
it's
so sad. And I just thought, oh,
pitiful.
it was so bad. And I felt like I was dying. And so I couldn't get into the neurologist because they said I was too young to have Alzheimer's disease. And so they kept rejecting the referral. And so I was so frustrated. I kept looking on Google. I'm like, I can find this out. The doctors are just Googling stuff. I'll just Google stuff too. So I get on there and I'm looking up and I keep looking up different neurological disorders. And
Yeah.
I looked up all these things and I kept thinking, oh, that's not quite what I have. I have this, but not this. And I would compare and look up things and I'd say, oh, no, it's not that. Almost, but no cigar. And so
Mm,
then I finally ran across this video and this lady was like, my head was jerking and my body was writhing and it was just kind of a weird thing. And I'd have headaches all the time. And
yes.
so I found a video of this lady, and she had kind of the same symptoms, the same quick progression. Day after day, everything was getting worse. And she had the same exact presentation that I did. And so, but what I found out was that her condition was not curable, not treatable, and it just was her brain was slowly dying. And so I was convinced that's what I had. And um, it felt like it was happening so fast that I thought that I wouldn't even be around till Christmas. And
Ex-
we were all just crying. Like, and we couldn't even get in to see the doctor to see what was going on, but I felt like I'd die before I get to see the doctor. And so finally I just started calling every day, like twice a day to the neurologist's office. Then I'd say, "Do you have any openings? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a pain. I'm really scared." And um finally after a few days of calling every twice a day. They were like sick of me and they found an opening and got me in. And once I went there, they explained what was happening and said, "Hey, this is something we don't understand a lot about, but as people that have been in abuse and trauma have this happen a lot, and it shows up years later. And I had had some bad marriages before, and so it made sense. But they said it was kind of like not your hardware was broken, but your software is corrupted, you know? So
Yes,
your brain's sending the wrong signals, but it's not because there's anything physically wrong with it. It's because it's just malfunctioning from trying to hold back all these bad things and not being able to on a
yes.
stressful day. So it was really eye-opening. And once they explained it to me, everything went away. Like all my symptoms went away for a few months. And then I thought I was cured. I was like, yay, I got a miracle, I'm all better. And then, when I relapsed, it was kind of like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to deal with this for a while, like
The thing is,
so
with this sort of thing, it comes and goes. Like,
yeah,
some periods were good, our
yeah.
brains function almost normally,
Right.
and then would, but
And
now,
then wham, I'm jerking all over the place again. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Like,
exactly.
yeah. So, like, today's a really good day. I feel great. But then sometimes I'll just go and I have different triggers, that will just make my brain go crazy. Like, walking into Walmart, sometimes all of a sudden my head will just go crazy and start jerking around. And people will be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just Walmart. Like, once I get out of here, I'll be fine."
Yeah,
Or if I have a really stressful day and I'm not taking care of myself, like I have to really pace myself. And
yeah,
if I get too stressed or crazy, then and I get too busy and don't balance like resting, and then I'll have bad days for a long time, like a
self-care
long
is
time.
one of the best things you can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how powerful your brain is. Like to be able to
Yes,
make you think you're dying and shut down everything and,
the brain controls literally everything.
everything. Yes. Yeah. So such a crazy thing, but when you face death like that, as you know, it changes your life. Like it really changes your life. It makes you think about what things are really important and how you want to spend your
Realize
time,
your
how you want to
priorities.
interact with people, what kind of legacy you want to leave, what kinds of things you want to do with your life. It all becomes very relevant. And the things that you thought were important really aren't the things that were important, right?
Yes, it realigns your priorities.
Right,
Like income becomes insignificant.
right.
If you just want enough to get by, and
Exactly.
then it becomes about impact.
Right. And helping people. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. It becomes about helping people and making an impact and making a difference. And you're not so worried about making an income. You're just like, it'll all take care of itself.
yes,
I just have to make a difference. So,
God willing.
yeah. Yeah. But I was so impressed when I found out like all the things you're doing to help people, and it's just so amazing.
I mean, it's not like I make much money from it, but I
Right.
have a saying, it's impact over income.
Yeah.
And that's the priorities right there.
Right. And I'm sure that everybody you've impacted has been very touched, So,
Yes, the mighty miracle man,
right.
known worldwide, affectionately even because of the impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and tell us, do you have a personal brand?
I right now I'm working on helping business owners learn technology because a lot of people are afraid like to even back up their website, like they're just like I don't want to break anything. I'm scared somebody built it for me. I don't want to mess it up and or they built it themselves and they really don't know how to take care of it. Like, you know what I
Yes,
mean? Like everybody's just kind of doing their best and it's web development is really expensive. Like I know because I was a web developer
yes,
and you have to wait so long to get things done and so I thought well there was a difference in the kind of people that were coming to see me. Like some people were really successful and some people were really like
yes,
struggling. And
yeah,
I was like, what's the
absolutely.
difference? How come some of these people are doing so well and how come some of these people are not? And what I noticed was that the ones that were really successful were working differently with me than the people that were struggling. And they were more involved in like they knew how to do it, like the basic tech stuff on their own. And it didn't mean they never hired me because they always hired me. It meant that
Yes,
they were just like able to do some things on their own. Like they could
yes.
make a basic
They,
change on their site and
they could um, do an HTML layer basically.
well then they didn't even know code. They just knew like we had page builders and stuff on the site. So it
Yes,
wasn't like really hard stuff. It was just they knew where their passwords were. They knew how to log in. They knew how to like make a change. And if I was to put a page together for them, they could fill in the content. They could um they could write an email series and send it out to their list without being scared of who's gonna see it and is it going to the wrong people or it was
yes,
just basic stuff, but they were more involved with um like we would work together more than just them saying, "Here, take this and do something." It was more like, "Here, I've got this idea and I came up with this part of it and I want you to make it beautiful." Or, you know, it was different. So now I'm trying to teach people how to take care of their own little piece of their technology and their business. Not everything, but like the stuff that everybody could do on their own, but they're just afraid. So,
yes, that's awesome.
yeah. So my
So,
site's called
and
cottagecoder.com. So,
that was my next question.
yeah.
Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Cottagecoder.com
Yeah.
and where else?
That's basically, I mean, I'm on YouTube and Facebook and the channels and stuff, but the website has the most information because we have like these tech tea parties where we get together and have like a little chat with everybody and we just make friends and talk about the things everybody's having trouble with their technology and it's just a free thing that I do to help, answer questions quickly, but
That's great.
it's building a really fun community and I like the people that are coming and we're having fun and it's a cute thing. It's like your coffee time, like we
Yes.
just gather and chat and have fun.
Yes, and I'll link to that down below in
Yeah.
the description. Of
Okay.
course, what is one thing that you want to leave people with?
Well, I think people should take care of themselves. Like, listen to your body. When you're overstressed, you can really like damage your brain.
Yes,
So take care. And also, there's no shame in starting over. There's no shame in being a beginner and trying something and failing and trying again. And I think we get so scared and we try to like look great for everybody. And really, it's just about being real and having fun and making an impact and um, just lighting the world with you. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something to give, and everybody can make a difference in whatever way they have. Like we all have a different light. We all have a different talent and ability. And if we find that in ourselves, we should just share it with others. So,
Yes, absolutely. And that ties in perfectly with my saying impact over income.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I love
That's
that.
what
That's so
it all
powerful.
comes down to. And thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Brendan. It was just such a fun thing to talk to you, and I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing. Keep it up.
Thank you. Talk later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.